Want to know the magic of getting your books into bookstores? Well, the answer is here for you today. Hey there, welcome to Pen to Paper. I'm Leah Lindman, author of the Canadian Reminiscence series, and today I'm super excited to share with you the way to get your books into bookstores. Okay, now there is a little disclaimer. There is that 1% of the time where it doesn't work, and I'm going to share with you right now so you're disappointed now just a little bit, but not at the end. The end is going to be amazing. You're going to be super encouraged. So let's start with the 1% that it's not going to work. It's not going to work for bookstores that are super, super, super tiny. They only can hold a certain amount of books, and they're just not big enough to host a book signing for you. Okay. That is just not going to work. Also, bookstores that just don't hold your genre of books. So maybe it's a bookstore that, sells university textbooks or medical books or science books. It just doesn't do fiction books. Or maybe it's even a bookstore that, sells books in a language that your book isn't even written in. Then that's not going to be a good fit for you. But if your book is a good fit for that bookstore, then your book will get into that bookstore because I'm giving you the email structure that works 99% of the time. Okay. And also, to let you know too, before you send out any emails, you really do need to do your research. You need to look up the bookstores in your area or areas that you want to go to, that you want to put your books in. And look up the bookstores, research them. Is this a bookstore that would welcome my type of book into their shelves, into their reading community? And if you really believe that they are, you see other books in your genre there, they are slightly, like they're large enough to house your books and perhaps host a book signing for you, then either find an email on the website that you can email or a number. And if you can find the owner's name or the manager's name, even better. Now, if you are planning to call up, let's say, a big chain retailer in your country, so I know the United States, I believe it's Barnes and Noble. Here in Canada, it's Indigo. You need to call that particular chain and then ask for the person who's in charge of putting together book signings, consignment deals. And then if they're there, you can speak to them. Or if they're not there, you may not be able to speak to them, but you can definitely get their email where you can send all the information that they need to figure out, is this, a book that they want to have in store, which either, unless your book is really maybe, I don't even know if maybe if it's a niche subject or it's just not really well presented, then they might not want you in the bookstore. But if it is, then it really should work. So I'm going to share with you what you should include in your email. If this type of content is helpful for you on a weekly basis, writing tips, writing advice, then please like this video, click the subscribe button, and stay tuned for weekly content. This really helps the channel grow. You should introduce yourself because emails and relating to bookstores and relating to readers is all about connection. So highlight this point very well. Then you're going to share the title of your book and genre, and then you're going to give a short synopsis. You're going to ask and give. Now, I'm a huge believer that if you do not ask, you will not receive. So make sure you ask for what you want. And not only ask, but have something to offer the bookstore. We're going to go into this a little bit more detail when I actually show you a sample email. And then you're going to broach consignment and hosting a book signing there. As I said, if the bookstore, it seems to be, is large enough, then you can do that. And then your availability. Um, if you've already started a book tour and you've only got certain dates available, then just letting them know ahead of time is great. If you don't have dates already taken up, you just let them know you're free, and whatever works for them then works for them, and that's great. So let's get down to the sample email. All right. Hello. Insert the name of the person that you're speaking to. As I said, if you can find a name online for, smaller local indie bookstores, great. Put that in the email. It just makes it more personable, and right away it just breaks the ice a little bit. If not, then if you're calling Indigo and you get the person's email, they're going to tell you the name of the person that you're speaking to. So make sure you write that down and don't just write hello unless you really can't find the name on the website, but make sure you put a name in, because then it shows that you're not just mass emailing bookstores, you're really putting thought and intention into each email that you send, because you're not doing this for yourself, although you are, but you're also doing it to make connections. All right, so this is where you introduce yourself. This is Leah. It was a pleasure speaking to you on the phone this evening. If you did speak to them, great. If not, obviously you're going to leave that out. And I'm going to explain who I am. I'm going to explain that I'm a historical fiction author of the Canadian Reminiscence series, and my latest unborn novel, Unborn Melody, is a historical literary romance fiction novel. So, title and genre. You need to give them the genre, because then they'll be able to see, okay, we already have titles, or maybe not titles, but genres similar to this, or we have many of them. They sell well. We think you'd be a good fit for the store. Now, the next two paragraphs are two short paragraphs synopsis. And I just put, there's a discussion whether it should be long, should be short. This email overall is a short email. So I found the sweet spot was two short paragraphs. You're just quickly explaining, what is the main story and what's the problem and what's going to happen with the problem. That's what you want to share. Now, in the next part of the email, this is where you give your ask. What do you want from them? I would love to do a book signing at your store. Okay, that's simple enough. And then the give part. Now, the give part could be creative in so many different fronts. I came up with hosting a scavenger hunt titled The Literary Romance Adventure, because for many female readers, that's something that they would enjoy, that genre of scavenger hunt, and it's something fun that the reader community that goes to that bookstore could kind of look forward to, like a little special event. All right, and not only are you gifting the bookstore a fun event to give to their readers, but you also could have a little gift for everyone who participates in it. Or yeah. Or you could say, let's say if you're expecting a really big crowd, say first 50 people, whatever, you decide on the number, but that you have a little gift for the bookstore, for the people. And it just shows that you are an extremely giving person. It's not about just you, it's also about others and serving others through the written word. Now, next is broach and consignment. Would you be able to have my books on consignment at your store? From what I understand, if your books are on Ingram Spark, it is easier for the book retailer to get it from Ingram Spark. And from what I understand, the processing of payment happens more quickly, so that you receive it more quickly on your end, and it's less paperwork for them. But if your book is not on Ingram Spark, then what a consignment program is that you would bring your books, leave them at the bookstore. They would take a certain percentage off the sales of your books, and then they would give you the rest. So that is what consignment is, and many bookstores do participate in that. And then the last part would be, since my book tour is already underway, I have slots available July and onward. So if this is, a first time thing, you don't have, like, you're completely free, just ask them what works for them. If you do have bookings already, then you let them know, when you're available, and then you can work that out with the person that you are in touch with. So that is the email structure. As you can see, it's pretty simple. You just need to remember to include all these things. But when you really break it down, you'll see that there's only, there's maybe two large, the biggest paragraphs are the synopsis, and then small little paragraphs underneath that include all the information that they need to make a decision. And that's it. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. You can do this. If you haven't done this before, tell yourself, I can do this. I have the information now to do this. And I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to make connections with the bookstore owners or managers or whoever's in charge of consignment and book signings at this bookstore. I'm going to reach the readers. I'm going to, just broaden my audience. And that's it. You can do this. Now, if you have not done this before, tell me, has this helped kind of break down the barriers of mystery? Do you understand now? Is it pretty simple what you need to do? Although it might take a little bit of courage. I hope that this is, pretty clear and understandable for you. And if you have gotten your books into bookstores, is there something that I may have missed that might be helpful to all those watching, that you can share those down in the comments below? I'm really excited to say that this is going to be also back on my podcast. My podcast has been taking a little backseat for a while just because of the way I was producing my videos and extracting audio, and then I wasn't able to do that. But now I'm back to it. I'm able to do it, and so excited to share this with you guys. So, all that to say, have an amazing week. Take new steps into new adventures. You can do this. Take care.